My people, welcome back to your favorite You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. This week, my people, we're going sexy on you. I don't know what else to tell you. Stay tuned. My people, welcome for being here. The beautiful, the sexy, and timeless Maureen is back.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Maureen, you're looking so great.
Thank you.
And
As are you.
Thank you, thank you. I got this from a very beautiful local designer named Yefa Giovanni.
Well, it's stunning. It's stunning on you.
You should see me standing in it.
What's stopping you?
So, Maureen, you're back. You're talking about sex. Still
As
talking
always.
about sex?
Yes, sex is very important, and it's a really important subject today, especially for women and anybody in a relationship, because it can cause a lot of problems, and it's a subject that is shrouded in shame and secrecy. And when people have issues with sex or sexuality or sexual expression, they may feel embarrassed to talk about it, or they don't know where to go, or they don't know who to talk to about it. So lots of challenges around that, but we need to speak about it, and thank you for having me on again to talk about it.
Well, I'm loving it. And then you have a full conference. This is Vancouver's Women's Conference, and you're the main speaker. I saw your picture in the newspaper on the cover today.
Well, there are many women coming to the conference, including yourself. I'm so happy about. And there are many fantastic speakers that are going to be there talking about issues that affect women today at the Vancouver Women's Conference on November 12th at the Fairmont Pacific Rim. And we also have Premier Christy Clark, who's the longest standing female premier and also a proud single mom. So she's going to be there joining us as well, interacting with women, answering questions about the challenges that she has faced. We have many other women, Jody Vance, Pamela Martin, a couple of women's health specialty doctors who are joining us to talk about perimenopause, parenting, fertility, all of those issues that affect women, whether they're working outside of the home or in the home. And we're also going to be addressing sexism and sexual assault, misogynism, discrimination, workplace bullying. So very important subjects for women.
Wow. So are you saying that Christy Clark is going to be talking about her sex life?
I didn't say that. I said that.
Come on, let's say that so more people can show up.
I said that she's a proud single mother. And
does she have a sex life?
You know, everybody expresses their sexuality in the way that they do. We walk into a room and we bring our sexuality with us, is what I like to say. It's what we exude. It's the person that we are. And so sexuality, is a continuum. And it's, whether it's a fabulous pair of shoes to demonstrate that, or whether it's a relationship that one has. So sexuality and sexual expression and who we are is so vital, and it's really about your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself and the level of confidence that you have inside or outside of the bedroom, because one translates to the other. And so many things affect a woman's sexuality or sense of sexual self-esteem, and often in the workplace we have workplace bullying or discrimination or mansplaining that goes on quite frequently. I mean, how many meetings have you been in with men where you maybe had a great idea and all of a sudden a man at the table absorbed this? They don't do this on purpose. Men are socialized in a certain way, and that impacts a woman's sexuality as well. So there are so many things. Slut shaming is something else that may impact a woman's sexuality. Women aren't allowed to say that they enjoy sex. It's a taboo. It's a shame. But many women do enjoy sex, and it's okay to enjoy sex. And that's what I'm trying to get women to be able to say and to feel.
It's very
and
hard.
that it's okay, and to celebrate that, actually.
It's very, very hard.
It is.
Like, for example, this is a politician woman. As a politician person, how much would a woman get away with if she was so in love with sex and so expressive about it? If she was talking about how she grabbed some you know?
Grope somebody. If a woman groped a man, it's an entirely different story.
Like how the perception of the society,
Exactly.
the different standards, you know, in politics, you know, because this is a politician, right? Like, how is that? You know?
We have such a double standard, and it applies in politics, it applies in business, it applies in the home, it applies in so many different ways. And look, we have that U.S. election going on. Who would ever have thought we would have been discussing a man, the presidential candidate of the U.S., of the United States of America, we're discussing his groping and sexual assault admission on air, and women are supporting that. You know, women are second-class citizens in this world, and until we realize that, and that's another reason for the Vancouver Women's Conference, it's really important that women stand together and women support one another. When there's weakness in a group, so women gossip, that's very common, and it's very damaging to women, and so men know that, and the art of war is, you know, one of the tenets of the art of war is, if you have dissension in a group, if you have weakness in a group, that's when you attack. And so that's why in 2016 it is so important that women stand together, support one another, are happy for one another when a woman is successful in a job, whether she gets a promotion or gets a TV show, to be happy for the success of other women. It will come back to that woman. So instead of having jealousy and gossip and trying to tear women down, that certainly happened to me in my career by women as well as men. So it's very challenging, but there are strategies and there are techniques, and we're going to be sharing all of those on that day on November 12th at the Fairmont Pacific Rim.
All right, my people, let's take a short break and we'll bring you more sexy things, okay? Stay tuned. You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. People, we're back still with the beautiful, sexy Maureen. Oh, the color is so Irish and so good on you.
Thank you. The Irish Catholic nurse taught
Yes,
sex.
yes. So this is the other thing. There's also a stigma about women who talk about sex. You know, I received comments about, you know, what does it say when women are talking about sex? Even the simple fact of women just talking about sex seems to be a little bit disturbing. So women are together talking about sex.
And they're talking about it in secret shame. And because women slut shame one another, men slut shame women, men want to have sex with women and then they slut shame them. I mean, it's not a great way to have sex with a woman if you're then going to talk about her in a negative fashion. But the other aspect that it relates to is health. So because women are embarrassed to talk about sex, they may have a health condition like vaginal atrophy, vaginal dryness, genitourinary syndrome of menopause, which is GSM. I always say you don't know what you've got till it's gone. So vaginal health is really important. Estrogen is the hormone regulator of the vagina. Women are not taught that. That accounts for the lubrication, arousal, the female sexual response cycle, which is desire, arousal, excitement, orgasm, and resolution. And estrogen plays a key role there, but that reduces with pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum, perimenopause, and in particular, at the menopausal time. So many women suffer with vaginal dryness, sexual pain, and pain with urination, and that's known as genitourinary syndrome of menopause. And there are treatments for that, but women are embarrassed to talk to their doctors about it, and often the doctors don't know about it because they're not taught about this in medical school. They focus on hypertension, obesity, diabetes. So there are treatments for genitourinary syndrome of menopause.
So a woman may be going through something like this and it's a medical condition, and instead of addressing the medical condition and finding a solution for it, then she is shamed because it's a taboo subject, is sex, then she doesn't even get the solution.
That's right. And couples don't even talk about sex together, according to the Closer study, which was a global study that was done in 2014. And so there may be some miscommunication there. So if sex hurts, a woman is not going to want to have sex. So her sexual desire will decrease. The partner, whether that be another woman or a man, may think, because she hasn't spoken up about this, that she's having an affair with somebody else. She must be having sex with somebody else if she doesn't want to have sex with me, when it's actually a medical condition. And so she refrains from having sex with her partner, and she may have enjoyed a 10, 20, 15, 50-year marriage, and all of a sudden sex hurts.
Yeah.
And so she can't have sex, but she doesn't know where to go. So we're going to be talking about all of these treatment options. There's a new laser therapy.
What is this? I heard you have something called the Mona Lisa touch.
That's right, the
What
Mona
is
Lisa
that?
touch. It is a new, innovative.
Mona Lisa was not having sex. I saw the painting.
Don't be so sure about that.
Okay,
you
okay.
never
I'll
know.
watch. I'll see the painting again.
And you actually never know. You think this particular woman, I have a couple in my clinical practice, very sexual couple, very good looking couple. They've been married a year. They're not having any sex at all.
Whoa.
She said many people think that we're very sexually active
Yeah.
and we're not. And so he actually has low sexual desire. He doesn't want to have sex with her, which occurs as well. But back to the Mona Lisa touch, when women during menopause experience vaginal dryness because of decreased estrogen receptors, the vaginal tissues get drier, thinner, sex becomes painful. So the Mona Lisa touch is a new laser treatment. It's a novel therapy to increase the lubrication in a woman's vagina and actually treat that vaginal dryness or that genitourinary syndrome of menopause. It's a 5-minute treatment. 3 treatments over 6 weeks will actually restore a woman to her teenage years in terms of vaginal health.
So women, instead of like focusing on doing face uplift and stuff like that,
That's right.
this is the
They should really face down.
They're lifting the wrong place.
Absolutely. It's just as important to moisturize your vagina as it is your face, and it actually works better, and it's associated with your sex life and your health as well, because women may get urinary tract infections if the estrogen is decreased in the vagina, or they have burning with urination. So the Mona Lisa touch, amongst many other products to help women with medical conditions and health issues, is going to be present at the Vancouver Women's Conference on November 12th at the Fairmont Pacific Rim.
I'll be checking that out. I'll be checking that out.
Yes.
Even though I'm still a little bit too young for it. Or are you ever too young for these things?
You know, many women can experience vaginal dryness. It can happen at any age, and it's really tied to the estrogen levels. So a woman who is pregnant may have fluctuating estrogen levels, or postpartum may have fluctuating estrogen levels. Perimenopause begins for some women at age 37, and so women can have vaginal dryness at that time. But a woman in her 20s who's on the oral contraceptive pill may have vaginal dryness. So it's something that we need to talk about. Women don't need to be ashamed about it necessarily. It's just a part of life, and it's related to health.
So another thing, let's tell people that you have written a book about this. I have the book. I've read it from cover to cover. I love your book because, you know, it's short, it's concise, and he has so many great stories. It can inspire so many people. Another thing that you dropped in your book is a little something talking about how financial control is a form of abuse.
It is. It can be. Absolutely, it can be, especially when, you know, sex is about power, really, and there can be an imbalance of power in a relationship, and money has everything to do with that. So the person who's the principal breadwinner or is earning more money, whether that be the man or the woman, because that can happen a lot more frequently these days, and holds finances back, or holds money back, or doesn't allow somebody to spend money or provide the right food for their child, or does not allow the woman to go out with friends perhaps, and it's all tied to finances, that can absolutely be a form of control in a relationship and can negatively impact sexual satisfaction.
Wow. Okay, let's take a short break and come back on that. You know, make your money, ladies.
Absolutely.
You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show.
All right, my people, my sexy people, we're back with Sexy Maureen. So I've heard you speak, and you're such an amazing speaker as well. I guess this is why you're speaking at so many events in the city. So the people who are going to come to this event, they're in for a real treat, you know, because the way you speak so well and you make your presentation so much fun. So a topic that people may be tight like this, people come out of your presentation so happy. People come out of your presentation looking like they just had something.
Well, thank you. You know, you have to deliver this type of information with a bit of a sense of humor to make people comfortable about it, because they've been socialized that it's an uncomfortable subject. But, you know, we all have this common bond around sexuality. You mentioned finances as well, and how, you know, that's really important that women make their own way in life. And I did the TEDx talk recently, which I think we've spoken about, and there was lots of comments. It's had over 500,000 views in about 10 or 12 weeks. And so I think it touched a nerve with a lot of people, but somebody made a comment. I had quite a bejeweled necklace on, and she said, what did she rob the queen for that necklace? And then she said she must be giving it up on the regular to have a necklace like that, which is, you know, kind of a negative connotation. But, you know, my response would be that, you know, I pay for my own necklaces and I give it up on the regular for myself. You know, it's not about giving it up or trading sex or holding sex back or withholding sex. A lot of women do that in their relationships as well. And so to assume that a woman couldn't afford to buy something of herself, that's why we really need to educate the next generation, or every woman, even if you're staying at home as a stay-at-home mom, which is an incredibly valuable job to do, and many women do it, and it's necessary. But also, all women need something for themselves, and they also need some control to be able to express themselves in whatever way that is, whether it be sports or a hobby, or to buy a rhinestone necklace like I did.
You know?
Exactly. So that's why it's really important that women have this independence within their lives, because that will also translate to better sexual satisfaction in the bedroom and better relationships ultimately.
And another thing that you said that was so important is that finances, money, is the #1 cause of divorce versus sex. Like, sex and money are the two issues of a couple.
That's
and then money is the #1.
That's right. Most contentious issue is finances, and #2 is sex. So the two are tied very much together. People may come to a relationship with their own history of finances, whether they've managed their money well, or they're a big spender, or they have this attitude that they only live once, or they may live week to week and no savings. And so two people must really talk about finance and sex to have a successful relationship. And that's at the beginning. You know, we'd have a lot less marital counseling needs if people address that daily. And finances aren't something you can look at in April and then again in July. You know, you really need to tend to that weekly, and you need to tend to the bedroom weekly as well, at least. So you need to have sex, and that needs to be important, and discuss your sexual needs and how often you would like to have sex with your partner, because it's also a health issue for men as well. And so it's really important. It is the tie that binds in a relationship.
So how come, what do you think is missing so that people can really get to knowing these things? More conferences, more people like you know?
Can you clone me? Not sure you'd want to. You know, education. We really need to start talking about this. We need to use the correct terms for body parts, especially for women. We need to call the vagina and not any other words that has been applied to that, because that denotes shame. So when we call it a hoo-hoo or a mimi or a hee-haw or whatever, we're actually saying the vagina is bad, but the penis is good, because we can say penis. We don't really have, you know, besides member, we don't really have many other words for the penis, but it denotes that the penis is better than the vagina, and that the penis can have its way, if you will, with the vagina, or has power over the vagina. And that's not the case. So we really need to be able to speak about it in an educated and informed way, and talk about sex is an important part. We see all these people getting married and we think, oh, isn't that so wonderful? I look at married couples or brides and grooms and think, oh my goodness, I hope the sex doesn't end for you, because that's really what happens. And then they don't talk about it, and then they get off on a different tangent and start arguing, and the kids come along, and there's all sorts of issues. And that's, you know, no sexless marriage is immune to extramarital affairs, chronic masturbation, pornography, and a lot of people have a problem with pornography. So, you know, I cannot stress that sex is vital. And body image, that's something else. Regardless of one's body shape, one needs to feel good about what they've been given, what they've got. And so that is just living a healthy lifestyle, cutting down on alcohol, exercising perhaps, eating healthily, but feeling good in your own body and being able to, as I say, strut your stuff. Slap on a pair of shoes like that,
Beautiful
nothing
shoes.
else.
I don't know if the camera is catching these beautiful shoes that you have on.
You know, that strut your stuff kind of way, you know, that you feel good about, you know, throwing on some pumps and just, you know, walking down the hallway into the bedroom or whatever room in the house you feel like having sex in.
All right, my people, let's take a short break. Keep looking good, and we'll be back in a short minute.
You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show.
Stories.
All right, my people, we're back. This is our last segment. Maureen, thank you so much for being here and always looking so amazing.
Thank you for saying that.
So the conference, it's not just going to be about sex. It's a health, happiness, and healing conference.
Absolutely. I really think Vancouver women need to unite. We need to talk about these issues, sexual assault, sexism. You know, people think that there's they hear about one sexual assault in the media. I work with forensic nurses. There are so many forensic nurses on call every day. There are 6 to 8 to 10 sexual assaults that occur in this city. We have a problem at UBC. We have sexual assault happening there. The way people deal with it is inappropriate. I really firmly believe, and I know it's very difficult, but women need to report sexual assault. They need to get a lawyer, and they need to go to the police. They need to remain quiet about the issue that had occurred. We're never going to change this if women are so afraid to speak up. And one of the things about sexual assault is we're taught that it's, you know, some weirdo in the woods that's going to attack you. That's often not the case from the women that I speak to. It's somebody that they know. And it can be somebody at a party. It can be a good-looking jock. And because he's good-looking, he can get away with it. Women give them a pass, and they think, well, maybe he didn't realize that this was sexual assault. Maybe
so what is sexual assault then? Let's
assault
define sexual assault and also define like abuse or whatever, you know?
That's right. Well, there's sexual abuse, and that commonly happens with our children.
Okay.
And sexual abuse is when somebody touches or fondles a child or penetrates a child or is sexual with a child. There's also unwanted sexual advances. That's very common in
the street.
The adolescent years or on the street. Yeah, absolutely. You can just, people can just
if we
reach
walked out
out
looking like this,
you know, we should be able to walk out looking like this, no problem. But you know, you risk somebody coming up to you and touching you, and that's a real invasion. I want to say that sexual abuse can happen in a marriage, in a relationship, at any time in a woman's life. So sexual assault is actually violence, and that rape, sexual assault, sexual abuse, it's all violent behavior, and it's all unnecessary, and it's criminal. And so these are crimes of this day that we have. And
what about just talking nasty? You know, those nasty people who talk so nasty about sex and they talk nasty about women. Like people who say that those are just words. You know, some people are doing it for real and other people are just talking. I'm under the impression that men like to talk and brag and talk rough, but are they really as rough as they talk?
You know, I don't think they're speaking the way Donald Trump was speaking on that bus that has become so famous now. In locker rooms, yes, I've spoken to many men about this. And in locker rooms, although I've never been in one, a men's locker room, invite me though, no. They talk about beer, they talk about work, they talk about sex, they talk about women, but not in a vulgar and lewd and criminal way, the way that Donald Trump was speaking about women on that bus. And so they do talk about that, but many men have been offended by his talk. There are so many good men in the world. And I would like to say this, that even good men can be sexist, and they don't even realize it. And it's just that discrimination of women, or talking over women, or taking women's ideas, or not promoting women in the workplace, you know, giving it to the men. So men seem to have more, you know, there are more CEOs that are men, there are more, you know, much fewer women who are chief executive officers or who advance in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not tied to because women are in the home. And a lot of people had thought that, but that's not the case. We have more women working today, but we really need to speak out against sexual assault.
Yeah.
So the conference will cover sexism, misogynism, sexual assault, workplace bullying, discrimination, what you can do about it, and how to have a great sex life as well. And you know, some of the treatments, like we're going to have medical marijuana there as well, and Fiona Forbes is going to be joining us, and Mary Zilba. So we have lots of strong, powerful women like yourself who are going to be there, and Jody Vance as well, Pamela Martin. So it's going to be a great lineup, and to address this, because you know, women navigate this life with a sense of fear. And we need to stop that. It's 2016. We need to actually stand up, speak up, have the courage to report, believe women when they say they've been raped, sexually assaulted, or anything like that, or have a medical issue.
So you're pretty much sort of liberating women.
Well, you know, there's been a women's liberation movement for a long time.
It will be part of your fault when women become happier in this city and more liberated.
There's so much work, you know, to be done. I speak to women all the time in my clinical practice. They're upset with their husbands, and I say, did you speak to him about that? And they say, no, I didn't. I don't want him to get upset. And I think, you know, that's such poor communication in a relationship. How's he going to know? Men are not mind readers. They drink beer, they sit on the couch, they like a clicker and a good TV, right? And they're happy. But they're not mind readers, and so that's why communication is key.
Okay. I think that would be the best way to end, because we only have a minute left.
Yes.
Like the best way as a woman, even as a man, to make sure that you're not going to step on anybody's, is what, always be talking?
I think just be true to yourself. And believe in yourself, and you know, not question your feelings or your ideas or your thoughts. And you know what, failure is our greatest teacher. We've all failed, and you know, so be great. Don't do what makes you happy. Be what makes you great. And what makes you great is helping other women, speaking up for yourself, admitting to your own feelings, living your best life possible. And it doesn't mean a perfect life. It just means being true to yourself and to other women, our sisters in the world.
Maureen! Thank you so much. All right, my people, be great to yourself and you'll be great to the rest of the world. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
With you, we always feel like we need a 1 hour show.